Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Talk Junkies, where we're coming to you live from my basement, which I'm trying to turn into a studio. I got Jesse here, Johnny here.
Still not live, but yeah.
Not yet. We're working on it. It's a work in progress, man. It truly is.
Probably never be live.
I just think it's funny because you always say live
Yeah.
every
Yes.
time.
Probably never be live, but
No, we will be. We have an option to go live.
It's not that hard to do. It's
It's
really
not.
not.
Well, next week might be a different story whenever we come with OBS.
Dude, I
and-
really, like,
and
we
then-
should actually go Sunday.
We
and
are.
get-
We're legitimately going to do
Okay.
it. It's going to happen.
Let's go.
Yeah. Hopefully someone will buy my Mac. That's what I'm really banking on. But anyways, we got a good podcast coming to you guys. Us three sat down and Jesse asked the question, what is important to you in life right now? And what's important to me, what's important to Jesse, and what's important to Johnny are all three different things. And we're going to shed some light on what's important to each. We're going to shed light. Yeah. We're going to let you know what's important to us. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
yes. The
Um,
things we're very opinionated on.
Yeah, and what's important to me is police brutality. I have I have a friend who is a cop, and I ask him questions every time that I see him, what he would do in certain situations. And we've all seen like the Eric Gardner video of it. He's a big black guy, and they said he was peddling cigarettes outside of New York, and he wasn't. You know, he wasn't at the time, but he maybe previously did do stuff like
God,
that.
even if he was, who cares,
Yeah.
man? It's
And
cigarettes.
then you have like 4 or 5 like they weren't in uniform cops like saying, hey man, like like we suspect you of doing this, and then they put him in a chokehold and he says I can't breathe, and then he died because of their actions. And there are countless videos of that, countless videos of cops shooting just innocent people for no reason. And that's really, really important to me. And recently I've been watching a lot of videos on that. I don't know why, man. I don't know why. It's not that I don't like cops. I like all the cops, man. I think more of it is that they're enforcing laws that don't need to be enforced.
That's the issue.
Well, that's actually not, in my opinion, if I could take this
Yeah,
on
go for it.
on a little different route here. It's with any subset group that you see within humanity. Race, religion, creed, even down to a subset of this is your opinion on things, is you have separate groups of people, and there are good people within those groups, and there are bad people within those groups. The same way with police officers. You have police officers who abuse power, and you have police officers who try to do their best on the day-to-day basis. Now, within a scenario, like, if you were to give me your best example of what the most, if you don't mind me re-asking you this, what is the greatest example of police brutality that you can think of in your mind?
So one I just watched recently, and I don't know the circumstances behind it, but the guy he was unarmed, and it was at a hotel, and the guy, they had him out in the hallway at the hotel, and he was on his knees, and it's like a SWAT team, like 4 or 5 guys with assault weapons, and they're like just yelling at him to the point where the guy is crying. Like, you can tell, like, this dude is harmless. He's crying, trying to talk with these officers or comply with what they're saying. So they're like, just like, get on your knees, get on your fucking knees. I'll fucking shoot you right now. Like, legitimately saying that kind of shit. So he gets on his knees, and then they're like, put your hands up in the air, put him up in the air. So he puts his hands up in the air, and like, anytime he fidgets or moves, they're like, I didn't tell you to fucking move. Like, don't fucking move or I'll shoot you right fucking now. Like, they're saying this to this guy. So he's just bawling, crying. Like, what do you want from me? And then, like, the cop's just like, he's on his knees, arms up in the air, and they're like, now put your arms on the ground and start crawling towards us right now. So he starts crawling. And he's crawling, and his pants start to fall down. So he goes to adjust his pants, and they blast him and fucking kill him. Unarmed. I'm not saying I know the backstory of this guy. He could have been a criminal. I don't know. But he was literally bawling. He was just like he didn't look like a hard guy. But literally just going to adjust his pants. Whenever they killed him, they found nothing on him. Dead. Just the way they demeaned him, the way they talked to him like he was not a human being. That's probably the worst case of police brutality I've ever saw in my life. It's just insane.
I've never heard of that one.
I'll pull it up whenever we're done with this podcast. It's intense, man.
And I'd have to see it too, to give you my full opinion on the whole thing. But police officers have to risk their lives.
100%.
Once again, on one side.
Oh yeah.
You have police officers having to risk their lives every day to defend us. Whether or not you think the laws that they enforce is morally right or wrong, and whether or not they think the laws that they enforce are morally right or wrong, they have to uphold them.
No, you're quoting like some end of watch shit right there, where you're like, oh, just because I'm a police officer, so even if I don't agree with the law, I have to enforce it. That's some bullshit. That's some Nazi Germany shit right there. If you don't agree with the law, you don't have to enforce it. If you do, that's your choice and that's your problem. You may get fired. You may not be a police officer anymore.
Okay, so that...
When
okay.
they're supposed to uphold the Constitution as well. That's what they swear upon. But for instance, like...
But I'm saying just blindly enforcing laws is really bad. That leads to some bad things.
For instance, like, Jesse, let me say this.
Well,
and then
wait, how so?
All the soldiers for the whole Nazi Germany thing, rounding up Jews and doing all of that.
No.
No, that's blindly following orders.
Okay, but I'm talking about like speeding tickets, and so
Yeah, that's fine.
so they can enforce that. Don't go to like Nazi Germany with some shit.
I'm
really
just
quick.
making the point of
Because they're not arresting and murdering people because they have
they're murdering people apparently.
Yeah, I mean, quite.
Okay.
I mean, it's a lot of people per year.
I know. Okay, I get what you're saying, Jesse. I'm pushing it too far out there.
Yeah,
I apologize for that. You're right. I am. I'm pushing it
that's
too
what I'm
far
saying.
out there. But I
So-
also, if you don't agree with laws, like you shouldn't. I don't know. I have a very different view than you on this. Very much so. Like if you don't, like if a cop thinks that the cameras should be illegal, like the red light cameras, if a cop thinks those should be illegal, then he shouldn't send out the tickets in the mail.
Which they don't anymore. They don't do that anymore. For like running a red light and then sending you a traffic ticket for it based on your license plate number. I don't think that's really constitutional. They don't do that anymore.
I mean, some places still do, but for the most part, you're right. They've gotten rid of a lot of them. I'm sorry, Jesse. I didn't mean to. You keep saying what you're saying.
Yeah.
My bad. I didn't mean
I
to
just-
make you lose track there.
When you did that, I wanted to go with an example of like the way I think a police force should handle a situation like that. So I guess a few days ago in Kansas City, there was like this guy with a rifle, and he was uncompliant with officers. He wasn't doing anything that they wanted him to do. They shot him with beanbags. I think that is a justifiable first force of action. Like that, like do that first. Don't go in there with just, lead and then spray on someone. Like try and calm them down with beanbags. I mean, that still got to hurt, which the beanbags did end up working. Then it led into a police chase, which at that point he did raise his gun at an officer, at which point he did get shot. And a couple hours later, he did die in the hospital.
Yeah, man, you can get into so much. Like if they would have just shot him first, though, with lead, then he would have never had the opportunity to raise his gun at an officer, and an officer might have not died if an officer would have get shot in that situation.
No officers died.
I know, but they could have. He raised his gun.
But I mean, that's the
Man,
job.
this-
It's the job you take, though. I think you have to give the individual person you have to give the individual, you have to give them a chance at first. I don't think anyone with a weapon or any trained officer or any police officer for that matter is a decider of life. I know that they have that option. They have a gun on them. That is what they're supposed to enforce laws, but at no point are they supposed to enforce whether someone dies or lives.
I think they should just follow the rules of actual self-defense. If I could get in trouble for it, a police officer should get in trouble for it.
I agree with that too.
If you directly, if I were to go to court for
But-
killing someone, and they say this is self-defense, that's the same should be held for an officer.
But and when you watch this video later that I'm going to show you guys of the guy, it's 4 guys, SWAT guys with ARs or whatever, and he's literally crawling to them.
My bad.
He goes down to
Mhm.
adjust his pants, which to them they thought that he was going to grab a gun. You could say that that's self-defense when the guy was literally just trying to pull his pants up.
I mean, would you do the same thing in that situation though? Would you think that's self-defense if you were to do that?
I don't know. I've never been a cop, but if I had full body armor and I had an assault rifle and I could if I'm like 10 feet away from that person and I can kind of see, maybe I would wait a little bit to see if he is coming up with a gun. But you don't think that when you're in that situation.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
And none of us have been in that situation.
Right.
There, in my opinion, from given what you're telling me, the statement of somebody is just going to pull up their pants and he's already down on his stomach, and he just goes to pull up his pants and they got him down. Well, that's poor judgment. They should not have shot him at all. That's poor. Well, they're probably poorly trained. Is what you end up getting into.
That's a
they're
big
poorly
problem.
trained individuals, and they've and I mean, like, how do you train somebody? Also, you get into the issue of how do you train an individual to be in that scenario and to react correctly. Like, I always tell people whenever they start learning, learning the menu and doing their thing on the terminal, and I was like, well, the best way for you to actually learn it is to experience it and then actually take physical orders from people. It's like baptism by fire. So what you have is you have a couple of individuals who are super skittish because they have not been baptized yet through the field of actual experience. There is training and then there is actual experience. These are two completely different things. You have a book on it that tells you this is what you need to do. But I promise you.
And then you have real world.
And then you have real world. This is actually you in the moment, which is way the fuck different. And if anybody tells you fucking otherwise, they're a fucking idiot. You have the real world experience of what's actually happening in that moment. And if you have not been through that shit, you will probably react poorly your fucking first time. Now you're talking about whether or not, do you want to talk about police brutality, whether or not those people should be held accountable?
Well, there really never are. I mean, I think we've talked about it in podcasts before where there was that individual woman
that have been held
like a woman
accountable.
cop, and I know I'm throwing out just instances there, and I know that there's probably different instances that's happened, but it was an off-duty cop who was a female, and she walked into what she thought was her apartment, and she saw a guy eating
I
ice
remember
cream
you
on the
talking about
couch,
that
and
one.
then she literally shot him and killed him. And
This
she's
was
literally only
big
facing
news.
like 5 years or 10 years or something like that, when you and I would face life in prison. You know what I'm saying? Like, she got off because she was a cop. So should they be held accountable? 100% they should. Just because you're in uniform, just because I'm a manager at a restaurant, if I do something that's wrong within that environment, I'm held accountable the same way as anyone else. Should they be held at a higher standard? Yes, 100%.
That's such a weird instance because she literally walked in to what she thought was her apartment
Allegedly.
and saw an individual just
I know where I live. You know where you live. You
Even
know
if
what
she
I'm
did,
saying?
even if she did, ignore the allegedly
For
part.
sure.
It's just for the state of.
For sure.
I mean, to back off all that, because that's not, there is so many, I mean, you talk about like a less than 1.0000 fucking case that one was. To make it more broad in the aspect of police who abuse power, basically is what we're talking about. Are there police officers who abuse their power? Absolutely, in my opinion.
And I think probably all officers do it at at one point in their career. I truly think that.
Everybody abuses their power at any point in any career.
Exactly.
That is a great question, because
In anything.
a police
Yep.
officer pulls somebody over that they know, right? That they know they would let them off as to where, I would have written them a ticket if I didn't personally know them. That happens all the fucking time. I think that's just the human condition that we live into. Now, if you talk about lives on the line and people dying and police officers literally unloading a handgun into somebody because they're just fucking up, basically, and they don't feel as though their life's, on the line, you only really hear about those stories. You don't hear about the other side so much.
Because those ones are hot, man. Like, I mean, it's just,
I think basically the best way that I could break it down for you is that human beings are imperfect, and you have cops, you have good cops, you have bad cops, and you have cops in the fucking middle.
I don't take that as an answer, though. I mean, that's such an easy way to say it, man.
So you're asking, how do you solve the problem?
No, not even that. I mean, obviously, of course, yes, but the way that you just described it, I think that's way too easy, man. We're putting these people in powers of if something happens, they're literally controlling whether someone lives or dies. No one should ever have that opportunity. And I'm not saying we should go like China and unarm them and they don't have guns and shit like that, but Jesus Christ, they're literally deciding whether someone lives or dies. They should never have that power in any way, shape, or form. And I don't think to come and say that we're just human beings and that's just what we are. No, that's not a fucking answer. No way, shape, or form that's an answer, man. Like for someone to say, I'm going to get in my glove box, I'm going to get you my license and registration, and he's like saying, I'm going to do that, and then he does it, and then a cop fucking shoots him in the head, that's not a fucking answer, man. In no way, shape, or form is that an answer. Just because we're human and that's just who we are. No, absolutely not.
You bring up really good points. And I'm going to play devil's advocate here just a little bit for you. What happens to the police officer who is a good person and then walks up to a car and then asks for a license and registration, and he's super chill and he seems super chill, and then they pull out a gun on him and shoot him in the fucking face?
That's the job he chose, man.
That's the job he chose.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, should he be on guard at all times? Yes. As a police officer, you're always on guard. You know?
There's no good answer. There's a catch-22.
I think with this one, there's just this huge gray area that people can just be shitty on both ends.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think if you were to have a general moral idea of the whole thing, like if you get pulled over by police, be completely compliant. And I mean, coming back to the first scenario where the guy like pulled up his pants, I think that's probably a little ridiculous that he got shot. I'd have to actually see the video to give you a full judgment on that. But I think in the majority of circumstances are probably more outlined enough.
Can I say this? Sorry, and
sure,
I don't mean to interrupt.
Sure, go on ahead.
I don't mean to interrupt. But if we were to follow the basic fundamentals of the Constitution, I think a lot of the issues that we have right now would go away. And to add to that, for you, both of you and Johnny, to say that you're completely okay with all drugs to be legal and people should be able to do what they want when it involves them.
That's my point of view, not Johnny's.
No, and John, you said you're more for like being able to do whatever drug you want.
Not as far as Jesse, but
that's my point of view.
No, I've heard Johnny say that he was down with being able to do whatever drugs you want to do without it being illegal. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, you shouldn't do them, but I mean it shouldn't be illegal. That's up to
right. So if a lot of the things that are happening on the streets, which officers consider violations, a lot of these problems wouldn't even exist in the first place. And these people, let's say, for instance, and I don't know if this is the situation, the guy in the hotel that I talked to you about, it was a marijuana charge, and they're just trying to get him. All that over marijuana, really? And the guy died. I'm not saying that's the case.
I was going to say
you know what I'm saying? But for instance, like I get on Facebook and I see this rant towards the police station in the city that we live in. And they were trying to say that he was, the police officer was homophobic, and that he was racist because the person got pulled over and they had something dangling.
Oh, I remember that
on the rear view mirror. There's
one.
over 450 comments, and everyone's just like, "It's the law. It's the law. Like you should obey it. That's why you got pulled over. Shut up." You tell me,
dude. You know how pissed you would? I would be pissed if I got pulled over because I have a necklace hanging from my fucking mirror.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. The laws that
why did he get pulled over?
He got pulled over because on his mirror, his rear view mirror in front of him right there, he had something hanging. That was the excuse the officer gave him. And because he had something hanging on his mirror, like an air freshener or whatever.
And then the officer proceeded to give him an $80 ticket because he had something dangling on his rearview mirror. That's absolutely ridiculous. But
the guy who got pulled over should add on the fact that the real reason he probably got pulled over, and I don't know, this is just opinion, is the fact that and I'm not saying this is right, I'm just saying the reason he probably got pulled over has nothing to do with the mirror thing. It's because he had stuff on the back of his car that was like, I'm pro-gay, pro-choice, pro a bunch of this stuff, and the guy was, I saw a picture of the guy, he's very, like, if I'm thinking of the right picture, he's very, I can't think of a good word for it, he's like someone you would see at Missy B's, like doing the drag show.
And he was shot?
No. He just got pulled over and got
an $80 ticket.
It was the same officer, and after this we'll switch gears to what Jesse wants to bring up. It's the same officer who I've never had a ticket until the year I went to Aruba in my whole life. Never once had a ticket or a violation or anything. It was the same officer probably like 6 years before that. I was on my way home from doing something, and I was driving up to turn into the trailer park that I lived in at the time, and there was a car completely flipped over. A white car on the right side of the road, completely just flipped over. And I was the first on the scene. I ended up knowing the guy from high school, who it was. Outside of the car, dude, I'm fine. Everything's good. Police officer shows up. It's this police officer we just talked about in that rant and rave. And I look at him. I was like, dude, what can I do for you? What can I do for you? Anything. He's like, dude, just drive down like a mile, block off traffic. That's what I did. I drove a minivan at the time. I blocked off traffic. Both lanes, I blocked it off, turned my hazards on. 6 years later, which is a long time, so maybe you forgot who I was. First cop who ever wrote me my first ticket.
What was your ticket for? If you don't have to, but
In the same house that you guys live in, I turned left on, what is it? Markey?
okay,
Right.
next to the gas station.
And then I was
I
going to
gotcha.
turn right on Sagebrush. Well, I was going 25 or 27 and a 15. And then as I was turning right to go,
Wait, what 15?
when you turn
15 miles an
Oh,
hour.
you're talking about
Yeah.
Cimarron. I got you. I
Yeah,
got you.
Cimarron,
So
yeah.
he's
I-
in the neighborhood. He
I
said
was,
he's in the
I was going
neighborhood.
27 miles an hour, which whatever. Yeah, that's obviously 12 miles an
Yeah,
hour over.
shouldn't do that.
Whatever. But anyways, what I'm saying is like I turned right and then like I literally pulled into the driveway at your guys' address, and he was right behind me and wrote me a ticket. My first ticket ever. And I just wanted to look at the guy and be like, dude, like I literally helped you out a long time ago.
Well, that would be him abusing his power then if he helped you right there.
But he has that option. But you're right.
I'm just saying, if he didn't follow the rules for you,
You're not. Yeah, no. And in Johnny's aspect of it, he's. I mean,
No,
a
I
little
get
bit.
it. I agree
none
with-
of us
I-
like getting speeding tickets.
agree
Like, but
No, they're frustrating. They're frustrating. And man, speeding tickets are almost kind of bullshit within themselves.
I mean, on the highway, when you're in a neighborhood though, going 12 over in a small neighborhood,
15
kids
miles
out
an
there
hour,
playing.
that's some bullshit, man. That's
Dude,
like one
I
of the
agree.
That's one of
I
the only
agree.
neighborhoods. Like
I
the city needs to change that.
You're right. They should. But you guys earlier said that they just enforce the law, right? Even if they don't agree with it.
Right, but then whenever they decide that they can kill someone, they get it, and then they do it and they get away with it. So, I mean, yeah, there is a big gap on what they can get away with and what they don't get away with. Police brutality is what is important to me. If it's important to you guys, let us know in the comment section below. Let us know what you think about this situation. Jesse, what's important to you, man?
Something that's probably more controversial than the last topic that you just brought up is the fact that I think religion creates a divide between people, and it separates us way too much. And I don't think religion is beneficial to any human being who has been to church or gone to church or read some scripture, who claims to be devout in any sense of the word. I think it's actually extremely bad for our entire society. Like that's my opinion on it. I'm trying to think of where to go from there.
My question,
Sure.
What-
Ask me a question.
my
'cause
question-
that'd
so-
be helpful to me right now.
and I want you to definitely hit this topic more so than I, but whenever it comes to religion, I've asked you quite a bit of questions because I always have questions when it comes to shit like this. And I know people who
Yes.
are pastors and shit like that, and they always have answers to questions. You know, they always, no matter what you ask them, they always have an answer, a pastor or a priest or whatever. They always have an answer, and boom, it's just like that. And it's so, they make it seem so smooth and fresh. And I think that's how they get people just sucked in. You know what I'm saying? But like you've brought it up, like why is religion not beneficial? Why is it such a damper? Like, what part of it eats at you the most?
The thing that eats at me the most is, well, coming from my background, just coming from a Christian background, which I'm not a Christian at all. I'm
The Antichrist. No.
no, I think the Christian religion, the Catholic religion, all the Protestants and the Jewish religions that I know very well, I can say this because I know that those religions in particular, they're a festering scab on the face of society that need to be lifted.
You know that,
You
but
haven't
how?
You haven't said why yet,
Yeah,
though. is
exactly.
what
Oh,
Paul's asking you.
okay. You want me to tell why? So you have somebody telling you that if you just do this, you will eternally live this way. And each of them argue against each other. You have the Christians debating the Catholics. The Catholics are debating the Protestants from fucking like day one. You have the Jewish people who wrote the whole fucking thing to fucking begin with, who are debating these people. And they're all warring against each other. They're all killing each other. They're all raping each other. And it's all in the name of God. It is a joke to me. It is an absolute joke to me. What you end up getting out of religion, what you actually end up getting out of religion, if you want a good piece of it that actually you can bring home with you, is the morality that you already have within you right now. If you right now say, oh, I would have raped, I would have murdered, I would have stole, I would have fucking killed this motherfucker if it wasn't for religion, you were already too far gone to begin with for me. Now I'm going to say this, because there are people out there who already had these moralities set within them. Now it's a cultural thing. So now what you have is this cultural group of people that you get together with every Sunday. And you feel comfortable with them. And the next thing you know, this one person, because you already had the morality of, man, I feel guilty whenever I stole candy out of the store, which everybody makes mistakes. Don't get me wrong. Oh, yeah, I feel really guilty that I cheated on my girlfriend. Oh, people cheat on their girlfriend all the time. That's a human aspect, but you learn from it. And humans are imperfect beings. So basically what they're doing is they're saying, oh, you're an imperfect being. You're an imperfect being, and guess what? Because you're an imperfect being, you get to burn in hell, basically. Unless you follow our way. Now, if you follow our way and you vote our way, you vote our politician in, you have our morality, you have our beliefs, and you get within our clique, then you will go to heaven.
They say
eternally.
just ask for forgiveness. You don't have to. They're not saying vote. I'm just sorry. They say just ask for forgiveness and you'll be all right, right?
But they try to get you to.
It's so much more than that. It's so much more than that. Within this group of people, like whenever you say religious, it's weird. Like in America, whenever you say religious, people think Christian. But if you were to say a cult anywhere else, they'd probably think Christian. Or like whenever you say cult in America, or they think, oh, Islamic, oh, that's a cult, or this. You look at the biggest brainwashed group of people I have ever seen in my life. And don't get me wrong, I agree with a lot of morality that comes within Christianity. I almost hate quoting it because it's such a corrupt group of people. I love the fact that they have, they preach, treat everyone else as you would want to be treated. Go and interact with a Christian. I doubt you get that fucking amount of respect. I fucking doubt it. You get just as much respect from an atheist as anybody else. It comes down to the individual, first of all. It has nothing to do with the religion that they claim. 100%. If you think that you're able to get away with everything in this world because you claim Christian, the Joel Osteens out there, and the fucking every Republican president who was ever voted in that fucking did so much shit, it's not the fucking case. You think you were able to get away with it because you're an American and you're an evangelical Christian? No. It comes down to actually what you do in this world. I promise you. If you think you can do whatever the fuck you want and, oh man, I get to pray away my sins at the end of the day, no, why don't you just develop yourself as a human fucking being?
So let me ask you something different.
Sure, because I know I'm going off on a tangent. I get really fucking angry whenever it comes to
whenever
this.
you talk to, again, Pastor, and I might be coming across. So there's this individual that I work with who is a pastor, and anytime I have questions, I'm asking these questions to this person, and one of my questions was, why are small age children getting molested or raped? I was like, why would God allow something like that? I was like, how is that in any way, shape, or form something that God would allow? Whatever age. I don't want to get into graphic detail or anything like that. It's absolutely disgusting. And it happens on this earth. How is there a God, or how is there religion within the Bible when they allow that kind of shit to happen?
They would tell you. They would tell you.
God step in and prevent it?
They would tell you it's...
They say God gives human beings
challenges.
Choice. He says... So the pastor, when I was talking to him, said that that person who did it had a choice. They had a choice, and they chose to do that. That wasn't God's choice. It was that person's choice. To me, that makes no sense. I don't know if you can answer or shed light on that.
No, I can. What you're talking about is inevitable suffering, which I can reference to actually a Jewish psychologist who went into 2 internment camps and wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning. And I'm going to give you the best that I can of this book, is that he said every person has inevitable suffering in their life that they're going to have to deal with. Every person is going to have some hardships. Don't get me wrong. All that's completely awful. If we can fucking prevent it, let's do our fucking best. But there's going to be some bad shit that happens to everybody else. Like, everybody has to deal with their struggle. What you have to be as a person is be able to learn from that in some way and become stronger from that, and to help prevent either whatever happened to you and become stronger from it. You cannot just sit there and wallow in your suffering. And I'm not saying this, and I might be fucking up the question a little bit here. But whenever you ask about like horrible things that happen to people who don't deserve it, because there's been plenty of that's happened throughout time, right? How can there be a God whenever this happens? I cannot tell you that there is a God that's overseeing what's happening. What I can tell you is that human beings are resilient. Human beings are resilient. I'm resilient. You're resilient. You're resilient. Johnny's resilient. We can find our struggle and not just wallow in our suffering, but within ourselves, stand up a little bit and use that as energy to make ourselves better in the end and propel ourselves forward. And that's not a God-given thing. That's something only you have. That's not something religion's going to tell you. Religion tells you, oh, pray to God. Pray, oh, thank God for your suffering. No. You can take your suffering. It's up to you. It's not up to God. It's up to you. You. Paul and Johnny and me. Any suffering that we get, we can either decide, oh, I'm going to make me become worse for this, or I can become a better person from this. And it's not some God, some like some inevitable thing that I'm about to become. No, it's me. It's me that decides this.
Do you think
the second you give that up, the second you give up that, which is what fundamentally human beings are, even the Bible says it, we have free will, right? It's almost laughable how comparison, in the comparison of whenever religious people come and talk to me, and they say, oh, these things and about God, and I go, oh, well, man, you're literally, you have to structure your whole religion around what human beings naturally are, which is up to the individual. And this is one of those things.
So what would you say to people? So like the oldest version of the Bible is the Old Testament, right? Like Judeo-Christian is what the Torah is to the Jewish people. So the oldest form of the Bible, how accurate do you think in any way, shape, or form that piece of scripture is?
Oh man,
what do you mean by accurate? Like as for toward history?
No, I'm just saying, like, do you think that it was just like a group of people who are on mushrooms? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you think
history has been found to be accurate in some senses and then inaccurate in others, but because you have it rewritten over time.
But you have the original Bible, right? There's an original Bible out there, is there not?
No, there's not.
But the oldest Bible that is out there is in Hebrew, correct?
Has probably been rewritten though.
But I'm saying like the oldest Bible that they've ever found and that they've been able to translate.
It's probably a rewrite.
That's the Torah.
Sure.
You're talking about like old Sanskrit, like
the oldest
Dead Sea Scrolls,
the
like
oldest
Torahs.
thing, right? And I'm just curious if they've translated that, how much. And I know it's a very hard question to ask because none of us can read in that writing.
You're talking about like hermeneutics now,
sure,
and how much of it loses meaning or changes.
Words.
Yeah, stole it, jacked it.
I mean, this story was written, and why was it written? Was it to control masses?
What you have is, absolutely, especially whenever you get to the Catholic side of things. In the New Testament, not so much in the Old Testament. The Old Testament, so much like whether or not who lived then, and then you have these stories. Nobody holds on to that like realistically now. But there are some things that are historically accurate within that, but you also have a very much, this has been a corrupted way to control human beings and corral them into a segregated group of people to believe in this, and it's a cult, just like any other. If you claim to be a Christian, you're a cultist, in my opinion, and I refuse to say anything else.
This was one of the questions and Johnny, if you have a question too, ask him. But this is one more question that I have for you. Is I remember like one of the first times, and I've never been religious in my life, but I've known Jesse for a very long time. And one of the questions that I asked you a long time ago, and what gave me the idea that a lot of religion is bullshit, is I asked you, what happens when someone is born in like on an island and has no idea what religion is or no idea what Christianity is?
I've asked my pastor that before.
And
when I say my pastor, I mean when I was a kid, because I was raised Christian and no longer Christian.
Yeah, and I forget what was your answer. I remember asking you that question. Like, does that person go to hell or do they go to heaven? Because in the Bible, if you don't, you know what I'm saying?
It's like I have the answer for that if he doesn't.
First of all, because I speak very much directly. I can't speak on like Taoism or Islam. I can't speak on those, but I can very much speak on Christian religions, which everything that branches off from Christianity, which is, I mean, so many sects of the Christian religion branch off that. But I can't say this. You have a lot of pastors that just say, "Oh, well, God gets to decide then," or he works in mysterious ways. Because you're right. Like, what happens to a baby who is only lived a year and then is murdered brutally?
Once again, I've asked this question. I actually have an answer from a pastor here way back in the day. I'll remember this forever just because I remember asking that same question you asked, Paul. Not about an island, but I asked the baby one. I asked, what if there's a baby who's born who dies a year later, never had time to accept Christ into their heart and all that jazz? The answer that I was given has to deal with before Jesus was sacrificed on the cross. What they would used to do is sacrifice, if you're just talking about Christianity here once again, when Jesse's whole point, I feel like I should point that out real quick. Jesse is not simply calling out Christianity. He's talking about all religions in the broader sense. It's just that we all know more and are educated more on Christianity than we are on, say, Buddhism or Taoism or anything like that. So on the Christianity side of things, and I'm probably messing this up a little bit, but from what I can remember, before Jesus died on the cross, they would sacrifice goats, and it had to deal with blood and something like this, and that would atone for the sins of the sinners and whatnot. After Jesus died on the cross, he got rid of sin for everybody, and those people who don't have the opportunity to... I'm butchering this so bad compared to the original answer.
First of all, I can redo this whole thing and answer this better, but that's
I'm doing
not
a
even
terrible
answering
job of
what he's asking. What he's asking is,
no, the man on the island or the baby or whatever.
Okay, well, first of all, they'll say, "Will the baby never sinned? Will the baby never sinned?" They have an age. First of all, you're misreading the whole thing from the religion. Babies can't sin. Like, a baby can't sin. They've never done anything wrong, but yet they very much say that people are born into sin. So we are naturally bound to sin. What they're actually saying is what the old school Jewish motherfucker said was sinning. Like, a bunch of fucking shit. Like, you don't jerk off, you don't covet another man's wife, you basically don't do anything a human does. You need to be this stout fucking raging fucking person that doesn't see anything else. First of all, babies can't even fucking sin in their eyes. I guess I'm sorry. I'm a little misconstrued on that. Like, babies, if a baby fucking dies, baby dies. They never even had a chance to sin because they're like perfect, right? But I understand what you were saying from which I could completely reiterate, because Jesus was a representation of the atonement that needed to be taken for a family sin, basically, which was very, this Jewish mentality to where you had to take a baby goat, and you had to slit his fucking throat.
And they would put the blood on their door.
No,
That was a thing too.
no, that's the Passover. That's
Passover. Man, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, that's the Passover. So the Passover, I mean, that's going into
Don't even worry about
All
it. Don't even worry about it.
Basically, what I'm saying is, your religion's completely fucking bullshit. If you believe in this cult fucking slitting lambs' throats and the atonement of fucking sin, and really the sin is necessary. This is my biggest fucking thing. Let me get this out there really quick. Anybody who feels guilty for something and then you need religion to make you feel better about it, it's not a thing. Everybody fucks up. Everybody fucking fucks up. You need that fucking up and that guilt to make you a better person. Guilt is not this, oh, you're going against the religion of God and how you're actually supposed to be. No. It's a fundamental way for us to interact socially with other fucking human beings, is all it is. You feel guilty about your interaction for stealing a PB&J, like back in middle school, and you fucking ate it, and nobody ever fucking knew about it, and you fucking feel really guilty about that. It's because you did wrong to another human being.
It's teaching you not to do it again.
And you have some sympathy there, and you're not a fucking serial killer. That is a sign that you're not a fucking serial killer. It is a developmental process that we all go through, that we do wrong. We fuck up. Everybody fucking fucks up. You don't need to fucking go to hell because you fucked up, because every human being is designed to do one thing, that is fuck up and then learn from it. That's the only way you fucking learn. Don't think that you need to fucking be dedicated to a fucking religion because you fucked up. Everyone fucks up. Everyone fucked up. Donald Trump fucked up. Fucking Bill Clinton fucking fucked up. Jesus Christ, probably not fucked up. He's apparently the only person who never fucking fucked up, but he wouldn't be a human being if he fucking didn't. Everyone fucks up. It's a developmental fucking process that you have. Now you have to decide the kind of person you're going to be whenever you fuck up. That's the difference.
I like it, man.
And you don't need fucking religion for that.
Boom, man. That was money. I have one more question, then we'll go to Johnny's
absolutely.
truth.
Dude, I'd do this all night.
I got one more. I asked this question to a pastor. When you die and when you go to heaven, I was told that all you do is praise Jesus and God for eternity.
Yes.
I said, what kind of... I do not want to go there.
Yes.
I do not want to go to heaven and just praise Jesus and God for eternity.
To lay prostrate before thee in all eternity is what it says. To lay prostrate, knees bent, to lay prostrate before thee.
No, thank you.
And to praise them.
That sounds like a cult to me. That God or that Jesus. No, thank you.
I wanted to make a point on the religion thing real quick because I didn't really get much in there except for my fucked up thing about lambs that was completely wrong in the first place.
Yeah, no, you really fucked
Dude,
up.
I did. I
You
didn't
really
know.
fucked it up.
I admit that. I didn't know. And this goes back to the very beginning of what Jesse was saying about you don't need religion to make you a better person. You can do that on your own. My big thing that I feel like there are some religious people who will try to, for lack of a better word, convert you or explain to you why you should believe in Jesus or Allah or whoever. My version of explaining to you why you maybe shouldn't is to ask yourself, if I didn't believe in God, would I still be able to be a good person? Can you be a good person without believing in religion? And I believe you can. If your only reason... Now, I can't say anything about the afterlife. If the reason you're doing it is to get into the afterlife, well, first off, that comes out of fear of the unknown and not knowing what happens when you die. So everybody wants something better than just rotting in the ground. Also, that's kind of selfish. If you're only praising Jesus so that you can get into the afterlife, that's kind of selfish in and of itself in a way. But honestly, like without religion, would you still be a good person? Like, do you truly feel that religion and praising whatever God and following whatever religion is the only way to be good? Can you not learn from your mistakes? Can you not change who you are without following that? And by the way, you can read, there's some good stories in the Bible. You can read the Bible and it makes valid points about how you should be, but that doesn't mean that you have to believe in God.
I think
I can read the Bible and be like, oh, that's a good story that talks about like how you should be charitable and
common sense.
help other people. Yeah, like common sense kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Can I say like one more thing?
Yeah, for sure.
One more thing, because I see this all the time. I see the lackluster Christians out there who bother me, because I grew up very devout Christian. My parents are very extremely devout Christians, Arminian Christians. They have a very set idea on how the world works and how the universe works, and not even how the universe works, but actually where your soul goes after you die, and they have eternity figured out. They not only know how all the universe works, but they know what happens after the universe is gone.
Which is impossible.
No, dude, they know. They know.
It's impossible. No book can
Dude,
tell
they
you.
know.
Did it he allegedly wrote in the Bible, correct? Allegedly?
No,
I've never heard
no.
that. I've never heard
God never wrote in the Bible.
I heard that there are
the
words-
only actual text that God wrote personally is the Ten Commandments. He wrote those personally.
Okay. For sure.
Which-
Or, well, no, he gave them to...
He physically wrote those. God physically wrote those.
Okay.
Those are the only ones that God physically wrote. Everything else was
I thought
hearsay.
that through the burning bush, he told them to someone who wrote them down.
No.
That's not what that is?
No. Not to Noah. No. That was
That wasn't Noah anyways.
Yeah, it was.
Noah's
So the
ark.
only thing that God wrote was the Ten Commandments.
No, that's
physically.
him too. That's him too.
Physically.
Physically, the only thing that God wrote was the Ten Commandments that was set. Okay. Whatever. God damn it, I had something to fucking say.
Sorry. Johnny, what's important to you, man? Sorry. That was...
Yeah, you're right. Let's transfer over.
what's
important to Johnny?
I don't know much, man. Like I started this when you asked this question before we ever even started this podcast. I said there's not a lot out there, and I said education. Education was the thing that I wanted to talk about. But we've covered education a million times, and it's not that important to me. It's kind of important, but it's not really that.
What's truly important to you, man?
There's not much, man. Why does everything have to be so important to so many people?
There's got to be one thing in your life that's important to you. That like one subject that you truly care about, or some, maybe something recently, maybe not forever since you've been alive, but recently maybe you watched something or some, what's important to you.
We'll just go with education. God, I don't have a good topic here. I really don't. I have nothing to bring to this right now, which is, I mean, normally I do. I feel shitty because normally I feel like I do an okay job of bringing something to the table here, but I've got nothing on this. Like religion's way more interesting. Police brutality is more interesting. I mean, I can sum up my education argument in like 5 seconds. It's pay teachers a lot better, but make them go through a lot more hardcore training. Like our education system should be completely reformed. It should be very, very difficult to go ahead, Jesse. You're shaking your head no.
No. I just want you to like really go over that fucking first one because that's so important.
Yeah.
Like really paying attention, like refining, getting better teachers in there.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you guys actually want to talk about education, we'll talk about it.
Slack-jawed individuals who don't give a fuck about your kids and all they want is the fucking paycheck at the end of the day, and you send them off to get their fucking their schooling. We should be a little bit worried about that. Should we not? Like fundamentally be a little bit worried about that. I think that's more important than anything I just said in the past like 30 fucking minutes. Is that one right there? Is that we send our fucking kids off to an institution that does not give a fuck about anything besides getting a paycheck in the end. And they pass some schooling, and yeah, maybe they'll get their little insight in the end, but all they want to do is pass them on to the next one. Like that's fucking ridiculous to me. You see so many unaccredited schools, it is ridiculous. Inner city schools, and you wonder why crime rates are so high. You wonder why people turn to fucking alternative fucking substances like fucking drugs, and you arrest them and you throw them in fucking prison when they have no hope whatsoever, when they can't even geographically fucking point out where they live on a globe. This happens every fucking day. This is an absolute fucking joke. We should be ashamed of ourselves as a country. as far as America goes. Like, you want to continue a little bit more?
I got nothing, man. I'm not anywhere near heated or passionate about it as much as you are.
Education is the most fundamental thing that we have in this culture. You could say other things. You could say hard work. Oh, hard work doesn't get us nearly as far. Not nearly as far. What you end up having is you have a very uneducated group of people, a mass wave of uneducated people deciding that this is what's right now for our culture.
Why is it important to you, though, Johnny? Sorry.
It's not really.
Well,
I mean,
it
is,
if
but
it was one thing, that why? Though?
I don't have a thing, Paul. That's the fucking thing I was trying to avoid saying. I don't have something that's super important to me. I don't get passionate about fucking things.
Nothing.
So yeah, no. So let's leave it at that. And I was just going to go with education.
Okay, my bad. So what about education then? Why is, if you had to pick education, and why is it important to you?
I mean, Jesse's doing a better job of going over it than I would. Like, education's important because it's so wrongly done right now, and that's your future. You want, at its core, if you fix education, you fix almost everything. If we raise smarter individuals, more intelligent human beings for our future, you have ways to fix crime issues, you have ways to fix economy issues and understanding and science, and like there's so much that, like, at its core you want to talk about, like, debates about, like, nobody can come up with an answer for, like, gun control. There's no just solid good answer, right? I mean, maybe if you educate people enough to the point to where that's not even an issue, you get rid of issues through education. I feel like there will always still be issues, but I feel like it's the fundamental base before anything else. Before we fix any other problems, and we've talked about this on the podcast before, before you can fix this issue or this issue or this other issue, education is the framework for everything. Because if you fix that, it makes it easier to fix everything else.
How many more brilliant minds just waiting for the seeds to actually go out and find their fucking potential do we have to waste? So many young kids that just because they got brought up in a bad scenario, you toss them aside. How many more times do we have to do this? Because you're not born into a rich fucking family. Oh, you don't get the education. This pisses me off fucking so much. How many fucking great minds have to fucking be lost? I mean, minds that would have benefited all of us, because of what they could have done, but because you're fucking selfish and you want to keep your shit along your bloodline and shit. No, that's fucking ridiculous to me.
But how much of it really is education, though? I mean, just look at
100% of it.
Just hold on.
100% of it.
And maybe so. And just a quick question though, like, I'm not gonna say that I had the best education in any way, shape, or form. You know,
none of us did.
No, none of us.
You know what, man?
Did.
I was actually laying down the other night, and I was trying to recollect some of the memories that I had when I was going through, K through 12, and a lot of it I don't remember. You know, I wasn't very interested in what was going on. But look where I am today, and look who I am today. And maybe if I had a better education, maybe I would be somewhere else in life. Maybe I would have more money. Maybe I would be in a different situation. Maybe I'd be in a different state. Maybe I'd be on a plane going somewhere at a big business meeting. But you know what, man? I did not get a good education. But I don't think that necessarily maybe education is the answer to everything. I think that I am who I am for a reason. And there was nothing that K through 12 could have done to change who I am today.
That's not what I'm talking about when I say education, by the way. I'm not talking about changing your lot in life.
For sure.
I'm not talking about you getting a better... When I say education, I don't mean you getting a better job. I don't mean you making more money. I don't mean whatever your view of is for success. When I say education, I mean actually like literally just making you smarter as an individual.
I agree with that, yeah.
Learning more.
Sorry.
Nobody has any kind of like lust for knowledge in any way, shape, or form anymore. I shouldn't say nobody. There's actually a lot of people who do. But there's a lot of people who don't. They don't care. They just don't care about what's out there and what more you can know. And like, why wouldn't you want to know more? I don't get that. I just don't understand that.
I think what you come to,
and I'm not just talking math and science and history. I mean about anything.
No, I'm not good at math.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm not
There's-
talking about our core fucking. I'm not talking about.
There's plenty of people who are not good at math that are still very well, that could be more than what they are right now. And you know what the issue is that you know what education really gives you is a better hope for yourself. The more you understand, the more you know, or the more you think you know. Don't get me wrong. Like Socrates he said on his deathbed. I mean, if there's one thing I know nothing. The better or the more knowledge you soak up, the better opportunity that you have.
It's a tool. It gives you a better chance to be a better version of
You
yourself.
have so many young people that they give up on everything because all they want to do, especially males in general, just give up because they're like, oh, I'm just going to fuck around. And everything will work out. Right? I'm getting it and I'm comfortable here. They don't give a shit. So many great minds have been wasted away because they've never had the
spark, man.
No, the mentors. I'm sorry. It's not the spark. It's the mentor that's important. That's why education is important. The importance is the mentor, the person to look up to, the father figures, the mother figures, the people in the community that sit down and go, I believe in you. You can be better than what you're doing right now. And sit there. And it doesn't even take fucking like police to sit there and fucking like ridicule them and put them behind bars. What should be more important is what your mom and fucking pop say to you whenever you fucking get in trouble. Fuck the police. No.
Well, it's different in every situation, though.
No, I'm
with
telling
mom
you.
and pops.
No, but it should be that way. It should be the community. Whether it's not his mom and pop or fucking uncle or whatever, there should be some influence there. Male, female, I don't give a shit what it is. This well-informed individual who's literally caring and saying, hey, you could be better than me.
Oh, I've had that happen though. Like I legitimately stole from one of my friend's houses, and then when I went to school, there was an officer there who said, "Hey, I know you stole from there. I could charge you with the crime, but you know what? You could do better. You could do better and never do that again. You're not going to get arrested. And be a better person." That happened to me.
Maybe that's my fucking essence of this whole thing with education. Why I fucking preach it so fucking hard is because young people fuck up. And what I said earlier is absolutely true. Everybody fucks up. You have to fuck up. It's the only way you get better. Nobody's willing to accept it. You have this fucking liberal media telling you that, oh, anybody who fucking did some wrong shit and can't adapt to the fucking scenario, now you fucking prosecute the fuck out of them, can't realize that fucking, oh, shit fucking changes, and yeah, they might feel fucking bad about that shit. That's just human fucking beings. What I'm saying is, kids fucking fuck up. What you need is fucking people who've also fucked up in the same way to go, hey, I fucked up too. Don't do the same shit I did. You're better than that. Fucking let me tell you why you don't do this shit. We no longer have this in this fucking community anymore. Nobody's sitting down with fucking kids. Nobody's fucking talking about this shit. Dude,
I'm sure it's happening. It's happening, but on a small scale.
I see it all the fucking time. Dude, kids being passed off.
Yep.
On fucking, oh man,
my brother was passed off.
Dude, once you're troubled, guess what? Oh, you're troubled for life.
Yep.
Ridiculous. Brilliant minds have been lost in this fucking void of our society because we give up on them. Because they're not the shining student. And you know what? The shining student won't ever be able to have the fucking mentality and the betterment to humanity than the person who was troubled and came back out of it.
Because of the way the education system is now?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think everyone has a chance to shine, though. Dude, except for the people who don't have a loud voice. But for the most part, you have a chance to shine.
Look at our politicians. Who do we vote in? People who are perfect. Perfect.
Donald Trump is far from perfect.
That's bullshit. People aren't perfect. Quit voting in people. Quit looking up to people who you think are perfect. They're not fucking perfect. They're hiding it from you. And honestly, that's the biggest fucking flaw you could have. Is not owning up to your fucking mistakes.
Hold on. No, I think for the most part in America, and Johnny, tell me,
I'm getting hot.
Tell me if I'm wrong, Johnny. I think for the most part, people growing up and remembering what education was like and going through it, I think for the most part we had a lot of opportunities to be that voice. Now, did we necessarily have the best education? No, but I think we've always have had a voice, and we've always been able to provide that voice.
Yeah, I mean, you're still talking about opportunities and when I say education, I mean it way simpler than that. I mean better education.
Yeah,
I mean, what you're teaching kids is garbage.
Yeah.
What we're teaching right now is absolute garbage compared to what you could be teaching.
Hold on.
Keep going with that.
That's it. That's not.
Let me just give you some really partial examples to show you what we're doing with our kids. No kids in high school are being taught finance. Wait. Nobody's being taught finance.
If you do, hold on.
How many adults listen to this podcast and know basic finance, know how stock markets work, know how any of this fucking monetary system works? I would love to have three out of how many subs do we have right now?
392.
Dude, I would love to have 3 comment on, I have a solid knowledge on how all this monetary system works. My bad. I'm getting heated right now. What do you expect to pass on to your kids? Same shit, same life? Don't you want better? Don't you want better for them? Jesus Christ, let them branch out. Let them. If you see a troubled fucking kid, they're not troubled. They're really not troubled. They have better opportunity than you ever, because they're being adventurous right now, in my opinion. This is ridiculous. We cast aside these fucking people when they're probably the forefront of the betterment of our whole society. This is a joke to me. And the fact that our education system looks at history as though it's some, I talked to people who didn't.
You shouldn't, in my opinion, you shouldn't even learn history. I mean, if you want to learn history,
you absolutely
should learn history.
A little bit, but it shouldn't be a focal point. One of the 4 common cores, which I know you like, but it shouldn't be one of the dude, like when I get older and I'm 18 or 19 or 20 now, I want to learn about history. Like that's something I'm going to learn on my own, and this is just me coming from my perspective. But honestly, if you want to survive in this world, you should learn more about finance. Honestly, maybe I should take one course on history, learn a little bit about of what we went through as a country, and let me learn a little bit more on how to make money and how to survive as an adult in this world. Do I need to know everything from Egypt on what the perspective is of what our indoctrination is?
Well, that's what I'm saying about a better.
Let me know how to fucking make some money, live my life. Let me get a boat. Let me get an airplane. Let me fly, dude. Let me be Kobe, man. Let me be Kobe and get in an airplane and crash and die. I'm not saying you. Let me get that opportunity. Let me at least learn finance, like you said, man.
Hold up.
No, you look at the fucking things that are mishandled within our youth. They're not taught how to handle finance, but you're asking them, hey, going ahead and get in debt for the rest of your life.
Boom, dude. Straight up.
In high school.
Like that.
Jesus Christ. Like one thing that should be fundamental
Stay out of that.
why don't we talk about finance? Why don't we talk about how the stock market works? And I mean, maybe they do it in private schools. They didn't in fucking high school.
I want to give a shout out to Mr. and Johnny, sorry. I want to give a shout out to Mr. Bernie, man. My 6th grade teacher who got fired for allegedly whatever. But that motherfucker taught us stocks in 6th grade. He tried to. He legitimately tried to teach us stocks in 6th grade. I don't remember any of it, but I appreciate you, Mr. Bernie.
I was taught how to balance a checkbook, if that tells you anything about my background of finance, up until I found Dave Ramsey. And then,
End it, Johnny. End it.
I got nothing, bro.
No, I want to keep going. I want to keep going a little bit.
Okay.
You
want
to end it? You want to end it?
No.
Okay.
If you want to keep going, keep going.
You do not have to be what your parents want you to be. If I could say one thing, I know I'm going to piss so many motherfuckers off, because I wasn't that guy my parents wanted me to be. I'm probably the opposite right now. You do not have to be what motherfuckers want you to be. You can be whoever you want to be. If there is some young mind out there, you can be whoever you want to be. And if you think of something, I don't care if it's you want to oil paint, you want to be a freestyle rapper, you or like you want to come up with a fully acoustic album and all you do is cover like Kiss songs. I don't give a shit. Like, I love the fuck out of you. Follow your fucking dream. Don't let anybody smash your shit, because they smashed ours. Everybody in this room right here, everybody in this room in front of this camera, our dreams got smashed at some point. We wouldn't be sitting here doing a podcast if our dreams hadn't been smashed at some point. I know it's sad to fucking say, but it's the fucking truth. Don't let anybody smash your fucking dreams. You go and fucking do it, goddammit. Go and fucking do it. No, we believe in you. Talk Junkies believes in you. You ever have some heartache? No. You can do it. I don't give a fuck what it is. You want to oil paint with your ball sack? Fucking do that shit.
You definitely get into that. That's most everything's taken. That's probably not taken.
God damn it.
You'd be pretty famous for that.
No, but in all seriousness, you want to be a poet, but you're like, hey, there's no money in it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Dude, keep doing it. You'll fucking Find your fucking rhythm. The society is becoming harder and harder to allow individuals to express themselves directly, and we need to fucking support that through this channel. In my opinion, we will support the fuck out of you.
I think we've
Keep
always
doing
had,
that.
man. We always
Keep
have.
doing it.
That's what we're always about that, man. That's like
This is
one of
sad
the-
sack of dead dreams over here, man.
No.
And talk. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. In my opinion, it is. Dude, I fucking I wanted to play guitar. I wanted to fucking.
So
some
do that
shit.
then.
Yeah, you always have that option.
Fucking
man.
do that. You're not
Get the fuck
married.
outta
You don't
here,
have
man.
kids.
Everybody's gonna yell at me now, but I'm talking to our maybe one listener out there probably right now.
Well, don't. Yeah.
Let me tell you this right now. Don't ever let anybody fucking tell you can't fucking do something. You fucking do it, and you do it wholeheartedly. And it's gonna be rough, and it's gonna be rough. And if you need support, fucking contact any one of us. We'll fucking help you out. Yeah. And as long as you're not hurting anybody else, and you're doing something that your heart goes into, man, we're fucking there for you. That's all I gotta say, I guess.
Call Paul if you're trying to paint shit with your ball sack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My head is the closest to look like a ball sack. So yes, call me, hit me up. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I like this. I think we might go with this with a new segment, man. Once a month, dude. What's important to Johnny, Jesse, and Paul? Once a month, man. We'll do that shit. And Johnny,
Sure.
eventually you will find
Absolutely.
something that's important to you, man. If not, you got a month to think about what is important to you, man. But I like it, dude. That hit home. We get 3 different perspectives, man. And I hope all our Talk Junkie listeners out there appreciate that. If you guys have ideas, what's important to you guys, man? What's important to you? You let us know what's important to you. We'll fucking hit it up and we'll talk about it, man. And we'll try to shed some light on that.
Absolutely.
For sure. I think, and we always got a great opinion on any subject. So no subject is too broad for us.
Nothing.
Hit us up, man. Give us a subject that's important to you. We'll shed some light on it next podcast. To all our listeners out there, hit that like button. Well, no, you already hit that like. Well, yeah, hit that like button.
No,
But anyone-
no,
Christ,
no,
Paul.
no,
Come on.
don't do it now.
But hey, anyone who's not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell notification to all our junkies out there.
Stay fly. Believe in yourself and